You know how they say your life flashes before your eyes when you're dying? That shit's real talk.
You saw it all, huh?
Yeah. There I am, bleeding out. And suddenly I'm getting the 3rd degree from Matsugane-san. Back when I was still just a rookie. Captain Hamura stares me down like, time to lose that pinky. And then, Higashi starts crying for me. Oh, if I'm gonna go, I ought to get a better final scene than that shit, right? Right?
I'm sure it'll be rosier when the time comes for real. Glad you pulled through, man.
That bastard Soma, though. Next time, he's fucked. We could have avenged Sawa-sensei if it weren't for that stupid ambush.
Well, you didn't tell the cops about him, did you?
Had to give the cops a statement, so I did. With a generous side of bullshit.
That'll get you busted, you know.
I'm joking. All I said was the truth. That I got knifed by the same twisted fuck who got Sawa-sensei.
In that case, it's only a matter of time until Soma's arrested. So for now, we'll go after Kuwana, the piece that ties it all together. We just have to find him before RK does.
Kuwana, huh? He's on my shit list too, just so you know.
Huh?
Kuwana must have had some sort of agenda back when he first met us. In fact, it's probably because you were looking into Mikoshiba. He palled around with me all because of that. I'm just a sucker of the agency, huh?
I wouldn't say that.
Still. The moment an ass for me to kick turns up, this is the shape I'm in.
Just focus on getting better. Tsukuma will stop by later, too.
What? Sugiura gonna give me the cold shoulder?
He and I are off to question Mamiya. He said he'd drive us from Ijincho and everything. There you are.
Oh, yeah, but I can't help feeling responsible. If I hadn't asked you to come to a Gene show, this could have been entirely avoided.
No reason to beat yourself up. Soma's the one at fault here. Kaito-san sees it that way too.
Yagamishi.
So, we off to see Mamiya? I'm ready whenever you are.
Yep, let's go.
Alright, let's do this. If your theory is accurate, then Mamiya was involved in both Kawai and Mikoshiba's murders. And even if that's off, we can at least learn more about Kawana-san as a teacher.
Yes?
Hi, it's Yagami. I dropped by with Genda Law the other day.
Not again.
I have just a few more questions I'd like to ask you.
You told me the last visit would be your only one. Seriously, why do you keep showing up here uninvited? Please, just leave me alone.
I suppose I should mention, I'm here today as a detective, not a lawyer.
So what?
And my partner here is Sugiura. He's with an agency called Yokohama 99.
Never heard of him.
He's based in Ijincho. He's working a case. Maybe you saw it on the news? The murder of Seiryo High teacher Yoko Sawa, killed in her own apartment. You and Sawa-san were classmates in high school, is that correct? After leaving Kurokawa 13 years ago, Sawa-san moved to Ijincho to teach. Are you still there?
What is it you want? I haven't seen Yoko-chan since graduation. Now go. You're barking up the wrong tree.
Maybe you'll remember Kitakata-sensei then. I ran into him at Sawa-sensei's home right before the murder. He was your homeroom teacher at Kurokawa, but resigned after the Mitsuru Kusamoto incident. Just like you, he appears to be connected to Sawa-san.
So why am I being singled out? Can't you just ask someone else?
Believe me, it's a long list. But right now, we're here to find out how Sawa-san got mixed up in all this. You two weren't necessarily on bad terms, were you?
If I had to say, we weren't on the best terms either.
Ah, how convenient. Because that's a perspective I'd like to hear more about as well.
My husband will be home soon. Can you keep it quick?
I'll give it my best shot.
Exactly, thanks for hearing us out.
Hold on just a moment.
Huh. Wonder what's going on. You don't think she bolted, do you?
Wouldn't count on it.
Should we ring again?
Sorry to keep you waiting. I just wanted to clean up a little.
Is your son home today?
He's at English school right now. I have to pick him up soon.
Doesn't your husband help with any of that? You said he'd be home soon, right?
Excuse me, but you are in no place to make those kinds of comments.
Sorry. Didn't mean to pry.
Well, what is it you want to ask?
Do you remember Mitsuru Kusumoto?
Yes, we were classmates in high school.
He jumped off the school's roof after his classmate Shinya Kawai bullied him. I hear he's still in a coma, 13 years later.
Weren't you going to ask me about Yoko-chan?
I was, but there seemed to be an awful lot of Kurokawa graduates surrounding this case. And strangely enough, they were all in your class. Kitakata-sensei being the prime example, as well as a guy named Akaike-san. Remember him?
Well, you're right. We were in the same class.
And would you say you're all familiar with Mitsuru Kusumoto's situation?
Yes, but that's not a warm memory for any of us.
I understand. I'm sure it's not. Have you been in contact with Kitakata-sensei lately?
I haven't. He's someone I'd rather not have in my life.
Are you surprised that he stayed in Ijincho after resigning from the school?
No, not really.
How about the fact that now he's using an alias?
I had no clue. But again, he has nothing to do with me.
The groping was orchestrated, right?
Excuse you?
When Akihiro Ihara grabbed you on the train, you were in on that, weren't you? The whole thing was a conspiracy, staged to play out as it did.
You need to leave. Right now.
Dude, what gives?
No one would even think to consider a predator and his victim could be accomplices. It's unheard of. But if it was to establish a murder alibi, that's another story, considering how much lighter the sentence is. That way, Ihara got away with killing Mikoshiba, paying only a fraction of the price. But as luck would have it, proving it is going to require you to cooperate with us now.
If you don't get up this second, I am calling the police. I mean it.
It took me quite a long time to figure out how you and Ihara were connected. But once I learned Yokosawa attended Kurokawa, it all started falling into place. She was in your homeroom class. She looked after Toshiro Ihara. She was the link to everyone. But just before I could ask her about any of this, she was murdered by the Kamurocho gang. That same gang has been hunting your old teacher, Kitakata-sensei.
What is it you want from me?
Mamiya-san, do you have any idea where Kitakata-sensei could be? He may be Kawana the handyman, but he hasn't answered his work line since Sawa-san's murder.
I don't know. He was my teacher a decade ago. I barely remember his face.
Well, I'm willing to wager Kitakata-sensei still remembers yours. I'll prove it right now.
Oh, God.
See for yourself.
No.
This was recorded at Kurokawa Academy 13 years ago. Feeling nostalgic yet? It was well hidden. Your Kitakata-sensei had it on a USB drive. He really didn't want this thing being seen. The most interesting part is the date. It's the very same day Mitsuru Kusamoto jumped off the school roof. And hanging out in the back, we see you, laughing and cheering right along with the other bullies.
Guess it's safe to say it's a good thing your family wasn't home. Wouldn't exactly want them seeing this, would we?
Has this video come up? Has Kitakata-sensei ever mentioned to you that he had it?
Please. Please delete it.
Considering the angle, I get the feeling that this was recorded in secret. And based on your reaction, did you even know it existed?
You know what happened to Mitsuru-kun. He's been in a coma ever since what you did to him that day. But still, only one of you took the fall. Shinya Kawai took all the blame. Well, sorta, being that he got fired, Kitakata-sensei took heat too. Still, you all just moved right along with your lives. You've even got happy little families. What? Are you expecting someone?
Mamiya-san?
Well, I knew it would happen someday.
What do you mean?
Looks like she wanted some company over. Let's wait. Let's go.
Well, this turned into a shit show.
And would you look at that? Our old friend Akaike-san showed up to play a part. So you are all working together.
What should we do with them? They're the jerks who hurt Tsukumo-kun, right?
Break every finger on their hand, it still won't make you even. Come on, they may have more on the way. I have an old haunt in mind we move this to, and Mamiya-san's coming with.
Huh?
Let's not cause a scene, okay? I'd hate for a finger to slip and post this video.
Hey, you think this is your personal jail, Yakami? What makes you think you can keep bringing captives here?
Well, it's the safest spot we know. Doesn't it feel good to be such a reliable friend?
Yeah, Higashi, be cool. We won't be around long.
Be cool. You think time's the issue? This is about respect, man.
What you call? We kicking him out?
Oh, quick bit of news, Higashi-san. Kaito-san got shanked in Yokohama.
What? What the fuck? Kaito Aniki? By who?
You'll know once we're done explaining. Let me introduce you to Mamiya-san first. She called up her friends to come after us just a little bit ago.
Yeah, and I'd do it again.
I don't give a shit about that! What happened to Aniki? You better have paid him back already, Yakami. Fuck those RK assholes! And how could Aniki have let him get to him like that?
Now that Higashi-san's up to speed, should we get to it? I imagine Mamiya-san doesn't want to drag this out.
What do you intend to do with me?
First, you'll tell us everything you know. We'll decide how to deal with you afterward.
Then let's get this over with. What do you want to know?
Let's start with the video. Any thoughts you'd care to share? I found it on a flash drive in Kitakata-sensei's room. Or should I say, Kawana's. I take it that means he's the one who recorded it.
Yes.
That means Kawana already knew back then the rest of you were bullies too?
Yes.
If that's the case, then why was Shinya Kawai the only student thrown under the bus for it? Kawana-san didn't show that tape to anyone else?
We had no idea we were even being taped. We didn't find out about the video, or the reason he sat on it so long until way after graduating.
Why exactly did he sit on it for so long?
Kitakata-sensei said he kept it so he could teach us for the rest of our lives.
What?
If that video came out at the time of the incident, I'm sure life would have been hard for us then. After all, Kawai was exposed online, and that would mean millions of yen in compensation for damages.
Yeah, but you guys could have wound up in the same boat.
No. At most, we would have come across as dumb kids he roped into helping him. We might have caught some flack, but people would chalk it up to kids and their cliques and move on. But that's only how I would have gone if it had come out while we were still teenagers.
You're saying circumstances are different now?
I have a child now. A husband, an upscale apartment. If the world sees that tape now, I'll lose it all. And what do you think would happen to my son? The son of a woman who drove a kid to attempt suicide? His life would be ruined. That recording is more than kids being cruel. Mitsuru jumped from the school roof that very night and is still in a coma today.
I get it. You have that much more to lose now than when you were a kid.
Same for all my classmates. Kurokawa Academy is a prestigious school, after all. Most graduates go off to great universities and land high-paying jobs. One started his own company. Others have families.
And they're all in your position too, huh? If that video gets out, they lose everything.
Exactly. Do you get it now? He waited for all of us to get what we wanted in life, just so he could threaten to take it all away. And when that time came, he started contacting us. Every student you see in that video.
When was the first time Kawana approached you?
5 years ago. I was out on a walk with my son when he came strolling up out of the blue. At first, I barely recognized him. His eyes were so hollow. Then, without so much as a word, he took out his phone and played that video. He's a psychopath.
Well, all you kids tormenting Mitsuru looked pretty psychopathic to me.
Oh, and you're so perfect. An angel who never once acted out of line. Never lashed out at someone weaker than you, or sided with the group to shut someone out. Everyone does it. We were just lucky enough to have some creep tape us, picking on some kid who couldn't take it. Why did this have to happen to me?
I'd say it's because bad things happen to bad people. You'll sling your barbs from a safe distance, but once you're on the other side of it, you curl up and play victim.
You said it was 5 years ago that Kawana showed you the video? Reminds me of something Shirosaki-sensei was looking into.
What?
There was this guy. I think his name was Shinya Kawai. Something about him getting snatched off the streets about 5 years back.
Then it was you guys. You're the ones who abducted him in Kamurocho and murdered him.
No! It wasn't us! We could never do something like that!
Wasn't us, huh? So you're not denying he was murdered after all? Who was it then?
All Sensei told us was to find Kawai somewhere in Kamurocho, then bring him back with us, no matter what it took.
Did Kawana tell you what he wanted with him?
He needs to be there when you all beg for forgiveness, is all he said. And if we refused, he'd leak the video. So we all went to see Kawai, but he wanted nothing to do with Sensei. Considering he'd cost him everything, that came as no surprise.
But doing nothing would cost the rest of you everything too.
Yes. So we had to force him into our van. After he'd put up a fight.
Yeah, that lines up with what the local eyewitnesses said. So then what happened? Nobody's heard from the guy since.
We were directed to bring him to a wharf in Yokohama. And that's where we begged for forgiveness. After that, he said we were free to go. All except Kawai.
So you left him there alone with Kawana?
We had to. The day after, I got a message on my phone from Sensei.
What did it say?
Nothing. There was only a video. It was of all of us, pushing Kawai into the van. Turns out he recorded what we did in the city. You can see all our faces so clearly. How we covered Kawai's mouth as he screamed for help. Even if you know all the backstory, the video is a clear-cut abduction. As I was watching it the first time, another message came in. This time, a picture. When I saw it, I just went cold. That's when I knew I would never be able to escape him. It was a picture of Kawai. Dead. Anyone who saw those messages would think we killed him after shoving him into the van.
And that's how he got his real leverage on his former students.
Since then, we've been at his beck and call. No matter what he tells us to do, we wouldn't dare refuse him.
He's giving you orders?
That man! He forces us to help him. He makes us accomplices to murder.
Murder?
What the hell? Murder who, exactly?
Any bullies involved in suicides. That's who Sensei's got it in for. Anyone he can find across the country. He doesn't even care how old the case is. If a student commits suicide, and bullying is suspected as the cause, he'll turn up. As far as I know, counting Kawai, I think he's killed at least 7 people.
7? How's he doing this?
So his idea of justice is killing bullies? Across the entire country?
He said that's the only way we can atone. Anyone who drives someone to suicide must always face justice. Until society comes to terms with this, he says we'll keep getting our hands dirty. That way, we might be able to save the next few Mitsurus before it's too late for them.
Not sure I should say this out loud, but I'm kind of rooting for this guy now.
Yeah, let's not.
So was the murder of Hiro Mikoshiba part of that agenda? We know Mikoshiba drove Ihara-san to suicide 4 years prior. That has to be why Kawana let Ihara murder him, and how you found your role in establishing his alibi.
Not just me. Grabbing Mikoshiba required a good number of people. All the people who pinned Ihara down. And even the ones who filmed it, they were working for Sensei.
So that's how it went down.
We had an unspoken agreement that we wouldn't directly take part in any killing. He just makes us his accomplices somehow. Like luring a target or digging a hole for a body. But the one thing we can't ever do is turn him down. If we do, he'll send his video of us abducting Kawhi to the police. And then Kawhi's body will turn up with our fingerprints all over his corpse. And we know that because he's hidden Kawhi's corpse in a freezer somewhere.
He's preserving one of his murder victims?
So as long as he has that, you're wrapped around his finger.
Sounds to me like Kiwanis had one thing on his mind for 13 years. Sitting on that video and becoming an Ijincho handyman was all in service of his real motive, killing off bullies. He's dragged all his former students into this hell, until the day it destroys every single one of you.
Is today that day?
We'll see. I'm still curious about a few things though, if you don't mind.
What?
There are these scumbags chasing down Kawana called RK. What part did they play? Strangely enough, they never came up once during your confession. So tell me, why'd they come for Yokosawa?
That I don't know for certain. But Sensei did reach out to Yoko-chan about 6 months ago over the phone. He was asking her about the suicide at Seiryo High.
The suicide at Seiryo High. You must be talking about Toshiro Ehara.
The lawsuit played out like no bullying took place, right? That the school wasn't responsible. But Yoko-chan was a teacher there, and Sensei was able to get the truth out of her.
How'd he do that? What did he say?
From Yoko-chan's perspective, she and Sensei were both just teachers dealing with students attempting suicide. I think that's why she let her guard down and told them everything. After learning the truth, Sensei believed Mikoshiba needed to be held accountable.
So if Sawa-sensei hadn't talked to him, Ehara wouldn't have gotten involved? And none of this would be happening in Ijincho?
Possibly.
No, this isn't right. Sawa-sensei didn't know Kawana's identity or his objectives. She thought she was just talking through her problems with a sympathetic ex-teacher. At the very least, she sure as hell didn't deserve to die for that.
It's not like we're the ones who did it.
Who is it?
Block number. Hello?
Yo, know who this is, Yakami?
Kawana?
Yeah. I heard you're looking for me.
Where are you?
I'm willing to meet you now if you come alone. But you have to let Mamiya go in exchange.
What?
Alright. She's free as soon as I see you.
Works for me. Then come on down to your office. I thought I'd let myself in.
What?
Gotta say, this chair's pretty comfy.
Pretty sure I locked up behind me when I left.
Listen, I'll only meet you alone. No one else. And don't make me wait long, or I could change my mind.
You told me to meet him alone. You can let Mamiya-san go once I confirm he's there.
You gonna be alright by yourself?
Well, he already knows Mamiya-san's with us. I'm guessing he was watching us from somewhere. And I can't afford to do anything that would piss him off enough to make him disappear.
Got it.
Oh, we'll take care of this end of it. Shouldn't you move your ass?
Hope you don't mind I let myself in. Now, are you gonna hold up your end and release Yui Mamiya? Come on. You and I can either try to make this work, or neither of us is gonna get what we want. So, you gonna make the call or what?
Hello? Yagami-san?
I'm with Kawana. You can let Mamiya-san go.
Got it. Will do.
Sorry about all this, Yagami. Why don't you sit down? Maybe it's time you and I had a heart-to-heart. How's Kaito holding up?
Kaito-san's recovering in the hospital. For now. Sawa-sensei is another story, though.
I can hardly believe it. She was the last person I wanted to get mixed up in all this shit.
If that's the case, why were you already waiting in her apartment? RK's top men were lying in wait over there to get their hands on you. So why was she the one lying on the ground? Answer me, Kawana. Was it because of you?
Would you feel better if it was?
How dare you?
You're thinking that if you hadn't stuck your nose in her affairs, she might be at home grading her papers right now. You tell me, is that what's eating away at you right now? Because if it is, you're mistaken. That guilt is mine alone to bear. It's my burden to carry. When I saw on the news that she had been murdered in cold blood, it felt like the whole world had stopped spinning to me. I would take it all back right now if I could. But unfortunately, to fix this, I'd need to turn the clock back further than you'd think.
You mean back to when you were a school teacher?
Yeah, basically. Back to when I still had a little faith in humanity. Seeing someone's life get cut short, you never really bounce back from it, do you? But I don't have to tell you that. I did my homework on you, Yagami. It seems you were a fairly accomplished lawyer. You even scored a murder acquittal. But we both know how that ended. The death of an innocent young woman. You and I are the same. We both have scars. And they're the type of scars that never fully heal.
Yeah. Maybe you're right.
But for Sawa-kun, it was 13 years ago. The very day before Mitsuru Kusamoto jumped, she stopped me in the hall so she could tell me about how serious the bullying really was. Up until that day, I'd just assumed it was boys being boys, teasing. I figured it was harmless, that they'd get bored with it, and then they'd move on. I mean, come on. Kawai had to have been twice the size of Mitsuru. It's not like I'd seen any fighting. So I warned him not to overdo it. And eventually he would take the hint.
Well, according to what I was told, you smirked, actually.
Yeah. I guess that's what I did. I was too late. Sawa-kun had to point it out. Sensei, how could you be so blind? She asked. Her eyes were this piercing mix of pity and scorn. According to what she told me, nearly half the class was bullying Mitsuru. She said she'd seen him at the station. She made it sound like he had half a mind to jump onto the tracks right then and there. I'm not so presumptuous anymore. But back then, I used to think my students were my biggest fans. I thought I'd won their hearts and minds. But the look on Sawa-kun's face that day made me see the truth. I couldn't just go on smiling like nothing happened. So I decided to do my homework. The next day, I put a hidden camera in the classroom after school.
So you admit that you're the one who recorded that video?
Yeah. You saw it, right? Talk about the ugly side of kids. Hard to watch, wasn't it? Unfortunately, by the time I picked up the camera and saw what it recorded, Mitsuru had made his jump. I missed him by a few crucial moments. What happened in that classroom was the final straw. Later on, all the bullies were asked what happened. Each and every one of them lied. Kawai started it. It wasn't our idea, they said. To anyone outside of it, all they'd seen was Kawai forcing Mitsuru to do his bidding. So the people held culpable were Kawai and myself. The callous homeroom teacher who deliberately turned a blind eye. That was the day I began living my life with real purpose.
So you couldn't forgive your students who got away with bullying. You went so far, you put aside your own life to make sure they atone somehow.
That's right. Mitsuru Kusumoto's still a vegetable. He's as good as dead. But I don't care. We have no right to forget about him.
You say that, even though Sawa-sensei ended up paying for it. I'll ask you again. Why were you at her apartment the other day? Don't dodge the question this time.
I wouldn't say I dodged it. But I suppose I should explain from the beginning. 4 years ago, there was a suicide at Sawa-kun's school. It was her own student this time. You know this, right? A student at Seiryo High School? Toshiro Ehara.
Yeah.
When she was in court, Sawa-kun had no choice but to say there wasn't any bullying. Soon as she told me that, I knew Hiro Mikoshiba would be my next target. Of course, she had no idea about any of that. When Sawa-kun learned Mikoshiba had been murdered, though, she reached out to me herself.
What did she want?
She had a sneaking suspicion that I was involved in his death. She called me a few times, prodding carefully for answers. Quite the perceptive lady, really.
And? What kind of answers did you give her?
I denied any knowledge of it, but at one point, she mentioned something kind of odd. That there was a detective at the school already investigating the incident.
Huh?
She meant you, of course. A detective already knee-deep into the case, despite the police barely even knowing about Mikoshiba. The police are a pain in the ass. But when an out-of-town detective comes sniffing around, that's bad. I knew I had to act fast to get you off the trail. Although, Sawa-kun was a problem too. I thought I'd kill two birds with one stone.
And then what?
First, I found out where the two of you would be meeting up, at that little cafe. Then, I hired the Liumang to step in. But you put up one hell of a fight. They had strength in numbers, but you would have taken out the whole group if I hadn't stepped in. Nonetheless, my other message went through. At the same time, Sawa-kun was handed a photo of Mikoshiba's final moments. I left that task to someone you know. Yue Mamiya. They hadn't seen each other in 13 years. Sawa-kun had no idea.
The lady in the sunglasses. Yui Mamiya was involved in that too?
Everything I did that night was intended as a warning to Sawa-kun. Although, I guess I didn't have to be so extreme about it.
Yeah. Sawa-sensei was too smart. She must have started suspecting that you'd had something to do with Mikoshiba's murder. After all, who else could have known we'd be meeting at that cafe? She'd have traced it right back to you.
Even if Sawa-kun had started to suspect me, I knew she wouldn't sell me out to the cops. We're too alike. The both of us lost students to suicide on our watch, That said, I couldn't bear the thought of dragging her down into the mess I started, so I scared her off, and I thought she would stay away. The day she was killed, she called to ask if we could speak in person. I could tell something was wrong. She was on the verge of tears the whole call. Then she broke down. I asked her why, of course, but she wouldn't give me a straight answer no matter how I tried to phrase the question.
So then what? Did you just waltz on over there? That doesn't seem like you.
Watch it. You don't know me well enough to say that.
Maybe. But I assume you had some sort of plan going in. Were you gonna confess to her?
Here's the thing. If she'd figured out that I was behind Mikoshiba, and it didn't sit well with her, I would have told her every last detail. Sawakun knew. I think she would have understood me. Or at least that's what I had believed. In hindsight, I think she was forced to make that call. Under normal circumstances, I'm sure she'd have rather washed her hands of me. Hard as it is to hear, I think she called me under duress. RK probably had her hostage. That would explain the vague responses. That's probably why her voice was trembling. It's tragic.
You mean it was RK? Why do they want you so badly anyway?
I don't know.
What?
If I knew their angle, I'd be doing more than just scurrying around.
You serious?
Believe me, I'm just as clueless as you are, much as I hate to admit it. Honest, I'm not thrilled that a small army wants my head on a platter. Have you noticed how RK seems to show up at the worst possible times? Someone must be pulling their strings.
Then we're on the same page. At least we agree on something.
Just a sec. Yeah. I'm still over here with Yagami-san. You're not being tailed by any of his guys, are you? Okay. Then I'll meet you right now. That was Mamiya-kun. She said she's free. You guys have been true to your word. Tell Sugiura-kun that I said thank you.
Now you want to go? We still have some business to settle here.
Now remember, I'm the handyman here. Let me do the dirty work. I don't know what else to tell you. But you need to get out while you still can.
If you disappear into the night, I don't want to go busting my ass just to find you again. Before you leave, I'll need some contact info. A phone number would be nice.
Oh, no need for that. As far as I'm concerned, this is goodbye.
I wouldn't count on that. You won't get away.
Well, look at you! Don't you have any get away! You. Don't give up! Ah. Hold up! Catch you later! Oh, damn it! Get back here!
What the... Where'd he go? Kawana! You guys again. Do you really need the masks? Come on, Kurakawa kids.
You heard that, right? The detective here already knows everything.
Kawana!
What are you going to do now? What do you think happens when he spills everything? Sounds like your lives are over, unless you shut him up.
But Sensei, you'll finish the job for us, right?
Huh? Is that you, Akaike?
Oh, he's even got a name to your voice.
Answer me, Sensei!
I know. I'll be the one to finish it. You just knock him out.
Okay. Time to learn your lesson!
Come on. What kind of lesson is this?
Here we go.
Kawana? Oh no, Kawana! Really? So nice of you to stick around. Mamiya-san. Well, since Kawana couldn't stay, Sounds like you're not out of the woods just yet, huh?
"13 years in the past. Mitsuru Kusumoto plunged himself into a coma, sealing his fate alongside Kuwana's. Ridden by guilt, Kuwana sets off on a path of vengeance, and the bullies he drags with him are shackled to the shadows. However, Yokosawa's murder serves as a deadly wake-up call to what he's done.
Hey. What are you doing?
Getting your identification on record, so you won't be a threat to us anymore?
What?
And I think you owe us after everything you've done. Expect me to come collect one of these days. Your carriage awaits, Mamiya-san.
Don't tell me we're going back to that dingy arcade.
We sure are. But try not to hold a grudge. It wasn't us who abandoned you. Higashi, you already called Sari-san and the gang, right?
Yeah, I let them know what's up. They said they'll head over when they're ready.
Did Shirosaki-sensei say anything?
Well, she was pretty stunned when I told her who Kuwana really is and what he's up to.
Sounding a little smug there, Higashi-san. Taking credit for the detective work you didn't even do? Back me up here, Yagami-san.
Whatever, man. Kuwana got away, and that's all that matters. Still, the task in front of us is finishing Sari-san's case. We have to clear up Ahara's crime once and for all. With Mamiya-san's help, of course.
Finally, I'm ready to get some answers. Well, we still got time till Shirosaki-sensei gets here. Why don't you take a breather, Yagami-san?
Huh? That'd be okay?
Sure. I'll call you once everyone's here.
Yeah, a break sounds good.
By the way, Higashi, has anything unusual gone down in Kamurocho lately? Anything involving RK?
Yeah, about that. My guys are saying things have been a little too quiet since yesterday. Soma and Akutsu are out in Ijincho too. When they come back, they're in for a rude awakening. And they can pay for what they did to Kaito Aniki.
Make them pay? Aren't your Yakuza days behind you now?
That's not the Yakuza in me talking. That's just a problem I'm gonna be the solution for.
Isn't that exactly what a Yakuza would say?
Fine. Think of it as getting revenge for a brother. I'm doing the right thing, damn it!
Yeah, maybe it's just how you're putting it.
Besides, what's it matter if I was Yakuza? I've got my own code, and I'm gonna do right by me.
Whatever you say. Much as things change, they stay the same.
Hey, Yagami-san, it's Sugiura.
Hey.
Shirosaki-sensei and the others just got to Charles. They're getting ready to grill Mamiya-san.
Got it. Then I'll head back soon.
Thanks.
What a waste. Really? You too, Genda-sensei?
What? Am I in the way?
Of course not. I didn't know you still did field work.
I figured if they could pull a fast one on Saori-kun, I'd at least want to look him in the eye.
Why are all these people here? What gives?
We've been waiting for you, Yagami-san. Mamiya-san is about to enlighten us on the truth behind the groping.
Good.
Oh, and I heard about Sawa-sensei. I'm so sorry.
Our condolences.
Looks like she got mixed up in all this when RK was chasing after Kawana. But we're still not sure why they chased him. To figure that out, we'll have to retrace Kawana's steps.
Exactly.
That said, let's start with the harassment charges, Mamiya-san.
Fine. Let's get this over with.
Pout all you want, but keep the answers straight. Got it?
Ihara's assault was designed to establish a false alibi for Mikoshiba's murder. So Kawana had you play the victim, and together you pulled one over on the police and the court.
Can you confirm if this is all accurate so far, please?
Yeah.
The person who groped you on the train wasn't Ihara-san himself. It was his stand-in. And my understanding is that he had conspirators to help him fabricate this event?
That's right.
What was Kawana doing at the time? Was he in Ijinsho or Tokyo?
Didn't you hear your lady friend? Ihara-san had a stand-in. And that stand-in was our sensei.
You mean Kawana posed as Ihara himself? So this Ihara was actually Kawana. Huh.
Sensei and Ihara-san have a pretty similar build. Not sure they could have pulled it off otherwise, you know?
But some spots don't look right, like his mouth. You sure that's really Kawana-san?
That part around his mouth is fake. He said he scanned Ihara-san's face and made it on a 3D printer.
Oh, huh.
You can print things in 3D now?
Well, it's a machine that takes a model's data from a computer and prints physical objects using materials like resin. So if you were to scan a person's face onto a computer, a 3D printer could accurately recreate it.
I don't know the details, but that's what Sensei used to become Ihara-san.
Something like this. See, with a 3D printer, a piece of a face is pretty easy to make.
What the hell?
I see. His eyes are hidden behind the sunglasses, and the seams on his jaw are obscured by the mask.
It's incredible, I must say. With the mouth area so visible, it's too convincing to think he's anybody else. And with the prosecution assuming he's just another sexual predator, they fell for it.
This is no time to be impressed. In case you forgot, he had the defense fooled too.
Right.
Assuming Kawana was Ihara's double, there's still some evidence I'm iffy about.
I'm of the same opinion.
Okay. Which evidence is questionable?
How should we be looking at this?
The guy getting taken down in the footage is the real Ihara-san. Sensei had already switched places with them before the scene happened. No one saw through his disguise.
Makes sense. There'd be no way to swap places after getting caught like this. His sunglasses were removed too.
Also, the person who tripped him was one of ours. So was the one who took the smartphone video. If nobody tried to stop him, he would have just gotten away. But the most important part of it was pinning Ihara-san as the culprit out in public.
Right. If that didn't happen, the entire alibi goes up in smoke.
More or less.
So basically, this entire battery case was calculated from the start. Nothing but smoke and mirrors. What do you make of this?
I mean, what's there to doubt?
You tell me?
The one running on the platform wasn't Ihara-san. It was Sensei pretending to be him, right?
Meaning...
There is no more meaning. That's all there is to it. Ihara-san used a stand-in to fake his alibi. The stand-in turned out to be none other than Jin Kawana, which Mamiya-san just finished explaining in detail.
Yep. Good to know we have all our ducks in a row. Any thoughts after seeing this?
Stop it.
You're gonna look away? You aided and abetted by playing the victim, didn't you?
I mean, yes.
Who put this video up on the internet?
Sensei did. He said from the start that once Ihara-san got his guilty verdict, he'd upload it to the internet.
So that was all part of the plan.
Yeah. Sensei can't forgive the law for how easy it lets off bullies. Ihara-san's the same way. His son's death was brushed aside. The court blamed his suicide on unknown factors. And that's what led them to his whole plan. The real victim is some bully who never got what he deserved, and the killer gets off in court by being convicted of battery. How would the public respond after finding out they'd gamed the law like that?
So Kawana and Ihara's real plan was to make a mockery out of the justice system.
Seems to be going well for them. The courts are beside themselves for dragging the police into this.
I guess Ihara really was desperate. He was never concerned about his own punishment. He tarnished his own name to humiliate the law.
Yeah, cop or not, Ihara is a broken man. Nobody took responsibility for his son's death, and the courts all but ignored his case. No wonder he went along with Kawana.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Sensei and Ihara-san are the perfect pair with nothing to lose. The only ones who do are the ones forced to comply. Us. Speaking of which, are we done here yet?
How about this then?
What's this? A map of the station?
We made a diagram of Shinjuku Station. The platform's packed with cameras, but take a closer look and you'll notice a small blind spot.
We've all been looking into it. So, let's say Ihara murdered Mikoshiba and faked his alibi at the station. If that was the case, then after Ihara had his stand-in do the deed, they would have swapped at this blind spot.
Yeah.
Sound about right?
Is I give up what you're looking for? You figured it out. You win. What more do you want?
This came out pretty clearly.
Uh-huh.
So the guy in the back is Kuwana posing as Ihara, right?
Yes. And he actually didn't lay a finger on me. His prince couldn't show up.
Sounds like you had a hell of a time getting this set up.
I didn't. But Sensei sure did.
This piece of the puzzle still needs an explanation.
Is that...
The police examined the trace evidence on Ihara's hands after he was caught. And from the analysis, the same fibers from Mamiya-san's undergarments were found on Ihara's hands.
That's right. If the stand-in was the groper, Ihara-san wouldn't have touched Mamiya-san at all. But the evidence on Ihara-san's hands suggests otherwise. Rather strange, isn't it?
I take it there was a trick to this, too?
That's simple. Before I got in the train, I met with the real Ihara-san at the underground platform. That's when I had him touch the undergarment. After that, all I had to do was go to the bathroom and put them on. That's where the fibers in the trace were from. What the police found on Ihara-san's hands was exactly what we wanted them to find. And it would serve as hard proof he grabbed me. The courts really ate it up. It was hard not to laugh sometimes, to be honest.
You're really starting to open up. That's the spirit. Can you take a closer look at this?
That's the Ikebukuro station platform. What about it?
If Kuwana was pretending to be Ihara, then Kuwana was also the man in the video before he got on the train, correct?
Right. Didn't we go over this already?
Guess we did, huh? How about this then?
And this is?
Before the incident, Ihara used this card to go through the ticket gate at Ikebukuro, the time of which was recorded.
Right, and it was on October 7th at 7:43 a.m.
Thanks, Hoshino-kun.
Happy to help, Yagami-san.
At the earliest, Mikoshiba's time of death would have been 7:30 a.m. If Ihara killed Mikoshiba in a Jinsho, he would have only had 13 minutes to get to Ikebukuro. And frankly, that's impossible.
That's what's stumping you?
Huh?
Sensei borrowed the card from Ihara-san beforehand and passed through the gate. Afterward, he slipped it back to Ihara-san when they switched places. That way, Ihara-san ended up having the time-stamped card on him. Makes sense now.
So even the entry time through the ticket gate was used as part of the alibi?
It all seems so obvious now that I hear it. Nobody'd suspect that a groping was being used as an alibi for murder.
Yeah. And on top of all that, no one knew Mikoshiba had been killed during the trial. They really pulled it off.
Anything else?
Yagami-san, you sure that's enough?
Yeah, I think we've got plenty. Bottom line, the groping was a fabrication. At the very least, we know that the prosecution's evidence can all be refuted.
The courts were being intentionally misled. I'm considering filing an appeal.
Are you saying you want a retrial?
I am. We'll reveal Ihara and Kuwana's plot and overturn the verdict they issued.
That might be harder than it sounds.
Why do you say that, Genda-sensei?
Well, the previous trial resulted in Hara being found guilty, right? As the client, if he doesn't want an appeal, there's no way you're getting one. Doesn't matter what any lawyer tries to do. If Ahara refuses to appeal, then that's that.
Then we'll talk to him tomorrow. First, we need to see how he reacts to everything we've got on him.
Sounds good. Then let's meet at the detention center tomorrow.
Will do.
So, we done for the night?
Sure are. Great job, everyone. Go get some rest.
Yo, Yagami. You sure it was cool to let that Mamiya chick just go home?
Yeah? Why?
I mean, she helped Kuwana kill all those people. Aren't you gonna turn her in or something?
I would, but there's nothing we can do.
Nothing we can do?
Frankly, we don't have any proof of the murder she was talking about.
What, so this is all for nothing?
Nothing directly pointing to Mamiya, anyway. Aside from Mikoshiba, no other bodies turned up. Which means all we can do is take her home, right? Sugiura is making sure she gets back safe.
Fine, forget it. Why are you still here? Everyone else went home already.
Come on, man, why the cold shoulder? Am I really that annoying?
You wouldn't be the guy I'd call to hang out with. So if you're done, then go.
Wow. Straight for the jugular, huh?
But if it's help you need, I'll be there. I've had nothing but time lately. But only if you bow your head and ask nice. Then I'll consider it.
I know for a fact you'd help me out regardless, so why waste a good bow? Thanks for the drink.
Dude, come on. That was your cue to bow and ask nice.
So, you're recommending an appeal? I have that right? Did some new evidence come to light?
Yui Mamiya told us some things, like how you faked your alibi for Mikoshiba's murder. You wanted the sexual battery conviction, right?
Well...
Your goal was to avenge your son and humiliate the law on a grand scale.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Ahara-san, we have a much better grasp of the situation than you think.
And what exactly have you grasped?
Like Yagami-san just said, you're innocent, as far as the harassment goes. As your lawyer, I'll file for an appeal, and we'll make sure the world knows it.
Thanks, but no. I'm scum of the earth. A pervert. The prosecution and the judge made that very clear in the verdict.
On the day of the crime, October 7th, at around 6:30 a.m., you were in Ijincho, not Tokyo.
Baloney. I was relaxing at home.
Except that you weren't.
Oh?
You wanted to give the man who pushed your son to suicide the beating of a lifetime. And you'd miss out on that opportunity if you were at home, which is why you were in Ijincho instead. Isn't that right? You and Kawana's former student staked out Mikoshiba's house until he left. Then you dragged your prey into a car and brought him to an abandoned building in Ijincho, which would later become a murder scene. Every bone on Mikoshiba's fingers was broken. Remembering how he pushed Toshiro-kun to his death, it's no wonder you'd go that far. You tortured Mikoshiba without a shred of remorse. You inflicted no small amount of pain and terror. There's no way you weren't there, and I'd put my money on that.
And then...
You need the whole play-by-play, even though you already know it?
Oh, not at all. I'm just fascinated by this outrageous little story.
As for what you did next after beating Mikoshiba...
That's quite a home video.
Without leaving anything on Mikoshiba's body that could be traced back to you, you slit his throat. Estimated time of death was around 7:30 a.m. on October 7th. You tossed the bloody coat and made your way to Ikebukuro Station, where Yui Mamiya was waiting.
Are you sure? I was at Ikebukuro by 7:30 a.m. Would have been impossible for me to kill Mikoshiba in Ijincho.
The person in the security camera footage in Ikebukuro was a double who imitated your likeness. The identity of whom belonged to Jin Kawana, the handyman in Ijincho. Or maybe you know him by a different name. Former high school teacher Yu Kitakata. So which name did he give you?
I don't know who you're talking about.
With Kawana in view of the security camera, you met up with Yui Mamiya at Ikebukuro first. That's where you touched the undergarments she had prepared. The police would later discover the trace evidence on your hands and pin the groping on you. Then you made your way to Shinjuku Station. After that, Mamiya and Kawana acted out the groping as they arrived at Shinjuku Station. Kawana jumped out of the train and Mamiya chased after him. And then, in the smallest of blind spots in a station absolutely packed with cameras, you were waiting for Kawana, who looked just like you. With the two of you matching, you were able to swap places in that huge crowd without anyone noticing. Kawana handed you the transit card used to pass the ticket gate. Just one piece of hard evidence that places you in Ikebukuro at 7:43 a.m. And right after the swap, Mamiya started calling for help. After that, well, we've all seen how the news reported it. You were caught in a public place with plenty of witnesses.
An active duty police officer arrested for sexual battery. The public outcry was very clear. As a result, despite it being your first offense, you were actually tried and convicted. The consensus is that it was a fitting punishment for someone so heinous. Even as your lawyer, I felt the same.
Have some confidence in yourself, Shirosaki-sensei. The prosecution, the judge, and a lawyer like you all laid out the evidence in court and found me guilty. I'm in no position to doubt you. And I've long accepted the ruling that Toshiro was never bullied. There's nothing I can do but abide by the rule of law. Right? That's all I can do, right?
I know what you're trying to say. You carried out the justice that the courts wouldn't, right?
Everything my son went through was passed off like it never even happened. School, the teachers, and yes, the court. They all dismissed the reason he died.
That's when Kawana came in the picture, telling you Toshiro-kun had been bullied. But was it Kawana's words that suddenly made you want to kill Mikoshiba? Because all of his fingers were broken while he was still alive. Was that really all just your pent-up rage?
What do you have to say, Tahara-san?
Did Kawana really tell you? You found enough motive to murder Mikoshiba on hearsay? No. That doesn't sound right at all. Was Sawa-sensei the one who told you the truth? She was the only person Toshiro-kun confided in. You had to have heard it from her, right?
Nearly hit the nail on the head, as they say.
Nearly?
After my trial, she confessed she knew about the bullying. But only to her old teacher over the phone. She had no idea she was being recorded.
What?
Kawana-san let me listen to that recording where I learned Sawa-sensei had been muzzled by both the homeroom teacher and the lawyer. That was the proof of Toshiro's bullying I'd wanted all throughout the trial. After hearing Sawa-sensei's words, I finally understood. They pushed my boy over the edge.
Was there no other evidence of the bullying? Like a diary of Toshiro-kun's or something of the sort?
Nothing. Toshiro never talked to me or my wife about the bullying. And that was probably all my fault. He was bullied in middle school, too. Kids would throw his pencil case around or hide his books. When I heard about it, I chewed him out. They walk all over you because you're weak. Grow spine, I told him.
I take it that was the wrong approach.
Yeah. I can't imagine how much courage it took for him to come forward about his suffering. I'm sure he felt ashamed about it. And I should have listened when he pleaded for help. I should have told him I was proud of his bravery. But instead, I pushed him away. And in the end, Toshiro tried to make sure he never showed weakness to us again, no matter how much pain he was in. He went to a private school out in Yokohama because he hated living with me. But in the end, he still suffered.
And that's why you didn't hesitate to unleash hell on Mikoshiba.
If you say so.
So the first time Kawana showed up, was when he let you listen to the phone call with Sawa-sensei, right?
Yes. He approached me and asked me if I still wanted justice for my son. I was in uniform when it came to me too. Very bold. But it paid off. I owe him a debt of gratitude. He reassured me he had already taken care of multiple individuals like Koshiba, and that he'd urged other families to avenge the children they lost to bullying. He'd tell them that simply being branded a bully wasn't enough. He promised to deliver real justice.
If justice can be served at one's own discretion, laws would cease to serve their function. If the law isn't fair to everyone, no one will obey it. The law is only able to help the powerless because it can't be swayed by money, force, or anything else.
Then tell me, what's the solution when the law fails to punish someone who laughs in its face? To overlook those the law won't judge is to abandon those the law couldn't protect.
To render justice with confidence, you require sufficient evidence.
Some of the victims' families refused Kawana's offer of revenge, telling him it would be unforgivable. But even after rejecting his offer, not a one reported Kawana-san to the police. Do you understand what that implies? Whether you follow through with revenge or not, Kawana-san presents a solution that resonates with people. Being that the law is unfair and imperfect. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're not. But we're fighting to make it as fair as we can. Laws have to change until they are perfect.
They don't change fast enough. Toshiro's death was murder by another name. Yet Hiromi Koshiba walked free. He even got to enroll in a teaching program as a student teacher. Someone like him? It's insane! I'd die of old age before the law was ever written to be fair enough. For Toshiro's sake, I can't turn a blind eye to a world where the Mikoshibas can live without consequence. Tell me, what alternative was there to getting blood on my hands? I didn't have any other choice.
Yakami-san, did he just...
This is the first time you've admitted to killing Mikoshiba.
You really did your research, unlike those useless cops. Kawana-san's plan was impressive, almost airtight. I didn't expect it to be unraveled so quickly.
I just got lucky. There was some dirt on Yui Mamiya that Kawana could have used against her. If we hadn't found it, there's no way we would have gotten her to talk.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, but I'm under no obligation to tell you.
Ahara-san, you'll be sent to prison as a sex offender as it stands.
Of course. Just as I planned. The charges will be confirmed, and I'll be convicted. As for the police and the prosecution, they wouldn't be able to admit they made a mistake. I could scream, "I killed Mikoshiba" at the top of my lungs. It wouldn't matter.
Are you saying you intend to admit to the murder after you're released?
Everyone's seen the video of me killing Mikoshiba by now. It's obviously authentic, but the prosecution and the police are saying it's fake. They need it to be fake. Even if I do confess, they'll sweep it under the rug.
They wouldn't.
No, that's not beneath them. But I take it how they react doesn't really matter to you. All you want is to humiliate the law, don't you? The same system that determined Toshiro-kun's incident didn't happen.
It seems you're starting to understand, Yakami-san. If the prosecution wanted to charge me for Mikoshiba's murder, then they'd have to retract the battery verdict. And that would mean admitting to a massive blunder by the court at the hands of a criminal it would be chaos. Despite knowing who murdered Mikoshiba, no one would know what to make of the case. Wouldn't that just be wonderful?
I hear you. And I even get why you'd feel pretty proud of accomplishing that.
Do you?
But in this case, the guys pretty much grabbed the tiger by the tail.
What tiger's tail?
Someone's issuing orders to the thugs in Kamurocho from behind the scenes. He's the tiger in this case. And they've been closing in on your partner, Kawana. And Sawa-sensei got in their path. I'm sure you get the newspaper in here, right? You know, don't you? Sawa-sensei was killed after the thugs broke into her home. All because she got involved with Kawana.
I'm aware she was killed, but this is the first I'm hearing of the reason why. And by thugs, you mean RK?
Yeah, but we don't know why they're going after Kawana. Any ideas?
No way I'd know.
You think it could be because she got mixed up in your deadly little game?
Excuse me?
That's what getting away with murder really looks like. The more you perpetuate the lie, the greater the rift you create. And then, the unthinkable happens. Kawana killed others besides Mikoshiba. You said so yourself. That's what brought the angry tiger into play. And if Sawa-sensei ended up paying for that instead, then how can you begin to believe your vengeance is fair?
Because she gave false testimony. She lied in court to say Toshiro was never bullied.
She couldn't name Mikoshiba, who was a minor at the time, without evidence. What's more, she was haunted by her testimony, always second-guessing if she did the right thing. But now she's been killed. Somehow that's acceptable to you? I'm gonna clear up what happened to Sawa-sensei, just like you did for Toshiro-kun.
How?
By going public with everything you and Kawana did. The first step is to appeal the sexual battery and undo this whole lie.
You never groped Yui Mamiya. That's one crime you're innocent of, Ehara-san. The court's verdict was incorrect. So please give us the chance to appeal. We can prove your innocence.
What on earth would I get out of that?
You get to humiliate the court again. Besides, what are you gonna do for the next half a year in a cell?
Fine. Do what you want. But just know this.
Yes?
I have no intention of admitting to killing Mikoshiba in court. Is your appeal still worth a damn?
We won't know until we try. Let's go, Sari-san. We have client approval to proceed with the appeal. We better act fast.
Yes, agreed.
Yagami-san. Sawa-sensei's death isn't on me. Even if I have grabbed the tiger by the tail, that doesn't mean I killed her.
By that logic, you may as well admit that Mikoshiba didn't kill Toshiro-kun. You can't have it both ways. Listen to me. Everything about you, about Kawana, about why Sawa-sensei had to die, we're gonna expose all of it. That's the only thing left we can do for her.
I'm going to fill Genda-sensei in on what happened. Why don't you head over to the office?
Sure thing.
So then, Ihara admitted to killing Mikoshiba, did he?
Off the record, yeah. He also admitted Kawana approached him to offer revenge.
That sounds like you were productive.
It's enough for us to move forward with the appeal, I'd say. How does that sound, Genda-sensei?
Genda-sensei?
The sexual battery and Mikoshiba's murder are the very same case. To clear Ihara of harassment, You'll need to prove he murdered Mikoshiba. But you don't have evidence he did, do you?
Ehara-san was captured on video committing the murder.
And the prosecution claims it's a fake, of unknown origins. The police are saying the same.
They're only saying that to cover their asses.
In reality, the sexual battery evidence against Ehara-san is what was really fake. At the very least, we can claim Yui, Mamiya, and the others aided in fabricating that, alibi or not.
You really think the courts will grant you an appeal for just that?
Are you saying that's not possible?
I wouldn't go that far. But Ehara won't admit to murdering Mikoshiba in court. Kinda significant, don't you think? So what chance do you have even if you do appeal? Without any decisive new evidence, you'll just end up splitting hairs over the original verdict. And what good'll it do other than damage your own reputation, Saru-kun?
To be honest with you, I feel like I've been deeply underestimated.
What?
Saori-san, are you actually mad?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I am.
You have every right to be.
Listen, Sensei. Ehara and Kuwana devised this plan knowing full well they could manipulate the justice system. Have we not fallen right into their trap? If we take pity on the prosecution now, we play right into their hand.
True.
So how can we worry about reputation when our duty as lawyers is to face the law?
I understand where you're coming from, and you're right to think it, but...
And another thing. While acting as Ehara's defense in the first trial, I never truly believed the claim. I didn't trust the person I was defending, and I felt sick to my stomach even being in the courtroom.
Saori-san.
Ehara likely saw right through that. He probably took great delight in our myopic dedication to the law. And I won't stand for that. I'm gonna show him exactly what I can do.
What about you, Yagami? I want to hear your thoughts.
We should listen to Saori-san. I understand why Ehara and Kuwana did what they did, but I can't condone it.
I see. So you feel it too, huh?
Yes. Although my motivation may not be as righteous as Saori-san's.
What do you mean?
Mikoshiba's murder, the fake groping alibi, the one behind it all was Kuwana, and he's in hiding. We need to shine enough light on him that the public can see what he is. And the perfect place to do it is during Ahara's appeal hearing.
So it's not Ehara you're after, but Kuwana.
If we pursue Ahara's case, Kuwana-san's actions will naturally come to light.
And if we draw out Kuwana, then RK and the ones backing them will make their move. Soma from RK said Sawa-sensei knew too much, which means whoever's behind them has a secret that needs to stay buried, even if it means murder. And I need to figure that secret out. I owe Sawa-sensei that closure. The only thing we can do for her now is make sure the ones pulling the strings pay for it.
Well said. I guess going back wasn't ever really an option.
Genda-sensei.
Looks like I got complacent from all the peace and quiet. Leave it to me to underestimate the younger generation.
I apologize. I shouldn't have been so impertinent.
That should be my line, Saru-kun. I suppose I have to make up my mind after all that, don't I? Get out there and do what needs to be done. And heaven help anyone in your way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
You heard him.
Hello?
Yagamishi, are you still in Kamurocho?
Yeah, why? What's up?
I'm afraid RK seems to be amassing in Ijincho. It's very bizarre.
Are they now?
Yeah, I can't shake the feeling that the officers like Soma and Akutsu are still in town.
You think so? If I was Soma, I'd have left Ijincho by now. He's a person of interest in Sawa-sensei's murder, too.
I see. That does make sense.
Things are settling into place here, though. I'm heading back to Ijincho with Sugiura. We got a lot to go over with you when I get back.
Wonder what it could be. Okay, see you soon then.
Yeah, let's go.
Shintani may be gone, but Saori-kun's really filled in the gap. And Hoshino-kun, well... he'll figure it out someday.
Saori-san's going above and beyond while I'm just sitting around. I need to step it up too.
I'm going to start filing the appeal. Yagami-san, the work you've done is what made that possible. You've been invaluable.
Just getting good.
Really, guys?
Yeah, let's go. Irashaimase. ありがとうございました。Hold up, Yakami-san.
Really, guys?
Well, now that's something. Looks like we're finally starting to see the whole picture.
Kuwana-san, or rather Kitakata-sensei, huh? And his students helped Ihara murder Mikoshiba. But there's still some things that doesn't explain.
Like what?
Like, why does RK keep going after Kuwana-san? You think that's weird too, right, Yagami-san?
Yeah. That's the piece of the puzzle that'll lead us to why Sawa-sensei got killed. Before they came to Ijincho, RK was originally looking for Shinya Kawai. But when they found out he might have been killed, they suddenly shifted gears to Kawana. So what are they trying to accomplish?
We can guess all we want, but that's not gonna get us anywhere. Shouldn't we ask someone in RK directly? They're strengthening their numbers in Ijincho as we speak.
The goons at the bottom rung aren't gonna be in the know on that, though. Though if Akatsu or Soma were around, then we might get somewhere.
That's true.
Sitting around here won't get us any further. I'm gonna head into the city for a bit. I'm quick on my feet. That's about all I have going for me right now.
How modest of you.
Yeah, don't say that, Yagami-shi. Otherwise, what ground do we have to stand on?
Hello?
It's Shirosaki. Do you have a minute, Yagami-san?
Yeah, what's up?
I was thinking back on our interview with Ihara-san, and something he said isn't sitting right with me. So I wanted to ask your opinion.
Which part felt off?
The part about Kuwana approaching other bullying victims besides Ihara-san to offer revenge. Ihara-san also mentioned that most of them rejected his offer, but never went to the police either.
Yeah, and?
Well, wasn't the first bully Kuwana killed his own student? Shinya Kawai, I mean. Tormented by his bullies, Mitsuru Kusamoto's lead left him in a coma to this day. That event was the catalyst for Kuwana's actions, so wouldn't he have approached his parents about revenge too?
Mitsuru Kusamoto's parents? You're talking about his mother, Reiko Kusumoto, right?
Yes, who is currently Vice Minister of the Ministry of Health. If she accepted or is even an accessory to a revenge plot against Kawai, then there's no way she'd ever want that secret to get out. With her level of influence and power, wouldn't it be possible that she ordered RK to silence Kawana? Which would explain how RK's actions are being controlled, wouldn't it?
And you think it's Reiko Kusumoto?
You don't think vice ministers can control criminal organizations from the shadows? You know very well the answer to that.
Yeah. Tsukumo's actually looked into her before. I'll talk to him about it right now. Yeah, this is genius, Sari-san. This could lead us right to who's controlling RK.
Quite a compliment coming from you. I feel better already.
Don't sweat it. I'll call you if I find anything out.
Yagami-san, back already?
That was quick. I figured you'd be out in the town until evening.
Well, the day's not over yet. I need you to look into Reiko Kusumoto again. She might be the one behind RK.
Really?
Yeah. Can you pull up the picture of her you showed me last time?
Okay. Take a look at this, Yagamishi. Reiko Kusumoto became vice minister just recently. It hasn't even been a full year yet.
Looks like she's still got a good rep.
Yeah, there's almost no criticism of her out there.
The Ministry Revolution, bucking the bureaucracy. Golden parachutes don't fly with Kusumoto. Go her. Vice Minister's pretty high up there, yeah?
Big time. If she really did take Kawana up on his offer, silencing him would be the quickest way to save her skin. And in that case, she'd need some kind of connection to RK.
Some kind of connection? A bit vague, no?
Fair enough, but RK already took an innocent life while hunting Kawana down.
Right. And after killing Sawa-sensei, they tried to kill me, too. Still, no matter how dangerous the gang, murder is a risky proposition. Then again, if someone's pulling the strings, they have a lot less to worry about. Especially if that someone has vice minister status.
Well, the internet's not gonna give us much else. How about we do our usual thing? Go straight to the source.
Maybe we should.
Would it really be that easy to get a meeting with someone like her?
Mitsuru Kusumoto's still in a coma, right?
Yes?
If he's in a hospital, we can catch her by surprise there.
I get ya. That might work.
Huh. What's this now?
What's what now?
Breaking news from the net. It says manhunt for Sawa-sensei's murderer.
And?
It's hitting the network news, too. The person they're after is...
Wanted for the murder of private school teacher Yoko Sawa in her own apartment, Kanagawa PD is conducting a search for the suspect, self-proclaimed handyman Yu Kitakata.
Why are they looking for Kawana?
Shouldn't they be after Soma?
Sawa-san's former teacher before and after the incident. It's also surfaced that he's been using a false identity for over a decade. The police are hopeful that their search will turn up some sort of connection to Sawa-san.
If Kawana-san was caught on camera, then surely some RK thugs were as well?
Yeah, I think so. On that note, I should have been in the footage too. The police only seem to want Kawana, but why? Guess we'll have to ask them ourselves.
Ask who?
Detective Watanabe from Kanagawa PD. He was the guy in charge of Mikoshiba's murder.
Been a while, hotshot.
Yeah, I guess it has. Hey, I'm curious. Do you have any evidence that Kawana killed Sawa-sensei?
I take it you saw the news. Kawana was caught on camera near the crime scene, plus he knew the victim. And if that's not enough, he was using a fake name. How's that for evidence?
But I saw Soma holding an ice pick up to Sawa-sensei. Plus, there were RK footprints all over the scene. So why is Kawana the only suspect?
Because the big boys with big balls at HQ said so. Barking at me won't get you anywhere.
So this is all just pressure from upstairs? What is going on here?
Why are you so bent out of shape? Kawana's a legitimate suspect, and all we're doing is following procedure. So stick your private investigator schnoz somewhere else.
You know, you sound pretty bent out of shape yourself. Where are you right now?
Uh-huh.
I was thinking maybe we could meet up. How's a free pass to bitch about your work sound? Abe-san?
On the phone, in person, there's nothing I can tell you.
He hung up.
Yagamishi, I managed to focus in on the background noise from your phone call. Despite all the interference, I have a good idea of Nabe-san's location.
What? Seriously?
He's on the main drag in Chinatown. If you go now, I'm sure you'll find him.
But is he even gonna listen to you?
It won't matter if I miss him because we sat here wondering.
Yagami Detective Agency. Quick on its feet indeed.
Can't compete with that.
Yagami, why are you here?
Oh, hey, Nabe-san. And you were...
It's Sakurai.
Oh, right.
I take it you didn't just happen to be in the neighborhood.
Let's just say some friends of mine have a real keen sense of smell. Something stinks about the cops here.
Excuse me, pal?
The Sawa case. Why aren't you going after RK? Or are you and you're just keeping me in the dark?
This isn't the place to talk about that. What the... Hey!
I get the feeling something's keeping you guys from doing your jobs. And I don't have to listen to you.
You want to say that again?
Sakurai, I gotta hit the can. Head back to the station.
Huh?
Need to take a piss, Yagami? You're looking hydrated.
Yeah, good call.
Then let's.
Damn. What's he up to?
Nice spot you brought me to. Very romantic.
Well, we're about to have a shitty conversation. Might as well do it with a pleasant view.
Do the cops really believe Kawana is responsible for Sawa-sensei's death?
We wouldn't be looking for him if we weren't serious. We even have a warrant.
To arrest Kawana?
His real name's Yu Kirikata. He's been using a fake.
and he surfaces right at the murder scene of his former student. In my eyes, he was suspicious enough.
What about Soma from RK? He should have been spotted on the nearby cameras too, like when he entered her apartment.
He wasn't.
How is that possible?
Let me rephrase. There's no footage that had RK anywhere near it.
What's that supposed to mean?
From the moment Mikoshiba's murder went down, the higher-ups had been busy playing politics. I had a handle on things when they were just competing with Tokyo PD over who got to grill Ihara. But after that murder footage came out, it really stirred shit up. Sawa-sensei's case has me scratching my head too. Someone at the top is trying to keep details under wraps. And they think it'll work even in this day and age.
You're saying the whole force is in on a cover-up?
It started with the footage surrounding Sawa's apartment. Someone on the inside erased it. Any footage that had the RK guys tagged in it is totally wiped.
Erase the footage? Are you serious?
Yeah. You heard me. Kawana leaving her place is all that's left. Even the parts where you show up are long gone. Before and after, the only person that the cameras pin the crime on is Kawana himself.
Who would go so far to erase the footage? Who would do something like that?
It's time to let it go, Yakami. Mikoshiba's case and Sawa-sensei's case, they're closing the book. And to tie up the loose ends, and this is the shitty part, Kawana has to die in an accident.
What?
Soon as they track him down, they'll put him into custody and then blame it on negligence. They'll say he resisted arrest and died in the struggle, I guess. Someone clearly wants Kawana gone, and they have the power to do it.
Come on. Who could have that power?
Kawana is clearly a target of someone higher up. Even if he sees it coming, he won't be able to stop it. As far as I'm concerned, the case is closed. You wouldn't understand until you've been on the force. When the team you're playing for is rotten to the core, all you can do is look the other way. As for me, I'll stick to the cut and dry cases for a while. That's what'll keep me an honest cop.
That's bullshit! You'll shut the lid on the trash, ignore the smell of the rot coming from inside, and go on pretending it's justice? And then you call that being an honest cop?
Asshole. Did you forget that you were talking to a detective?
You never did answer the question, Nami-san. Who had the authority to erase the security cameras? Who wants Kawana dead so bad that they do it inside?
Even if I told you, what the fuck could you do about it, detective? Smartass! Leave it alone, Yagami. It's for your own good.
Is that your call? Well, I think I'll be the judge of that.
You little piece of shit! I've had enough! Dead son of a bitch!
Let's go!
Pissing me off! Pissing me off! Come on, bring it! You! Get out of I think it's time you cooled off! Have a drink! Dead son of a bitch! Come on! You're pissing me off! Cooled off! Have a drink! Dead son of a bitch! Let's go! Get poking around! you cooled off! Have a drink! Dead son of a bitch! Get from poking around! You cooled off! Have a drink! Dead son of a bitch! Come on! Pissing me off! It's time you cooled off! Have a drink! Dead son of a bitch! Let's go! Here we go! I think it's time you cooled off! Have a drink! Dead son of a bitch! Let's go! Here we go! That hurts! Bastard! Get around! I think it's time you cooled off! Have a drink! Dead son of a bitch! Let's go! Here we go! It's time you cooled off! Have a drink!
No, God, no.
Get for poking around! Bastard!
They broke the lock and forced their way into Sawa-sensei's place. That's when Soma came in. I'm sure she was terrified. They were pointing an ice pick at her. When I found her, her eyes were still open, and I could see the tears. Yet the police are going after Kawana instead of Soma. And the cops that were there know he isn't a suspect, but say their hands are tied. So it'll be my voice you hear instead of hers. And when they come to silence me, I'll know who the puppet masters are.
I hear you. You're probably right.
And if you have any idea who might be pulling the strings, I need you to tell me before it's too late. Is there anyone on the force who would want Kawana dead?
The moment we opened Sawa-sensei's case, the Kanagawa brass had a suspect file ready to go. They didn't point to your guy Soma. They named you Kitakata, alias Kawana the handyman. Hilarious, isn't it? We were the first to the scene, which means the bigwigs pulled a suspect file before it even happened.
Where'd the info about Kitakata come from?
Not sure. But the National Police Agency said it came from public security.
Public security? Why is public security involved in Sawa-sensei's case?
Seems they were interested in RK's criminal network in Kamurocho. You know how after the Tojo clan disbanded, the criminals started going underground? Well, public security would rather let RK roam free than bust them. Monitoring them quietly gives them intel on criminal movements. And even if you catch these guys, new ones will just take their place.
Wait, so they want RK on the streets? Is that why they're brushing Sawa-sensei's case under the rug?
If RK goes down in one fell swoop over a murder case, they have to find a new source of intel. Purely speaking, from public security's point of view, that is.
Unbelievable.
Not that they'd ever say that out in, well, public. If you believe public security, there's no way RK killed Sawa-sensei.
What the hell? Do they even have a reason?
Not that I'm aware of. On top of that, I asked Tokyo PD about Soma, but he doesn't have a record. No priors, no census registry, not even a damn profile pic.
Then, what does that mean?
The man known as Kazuki Soma doesn't exist, basically. Maybe that's how it's always been, or maybe it's a cover-up. They had plenty of files on Kawana to send our way instead.
They're the ones who made him the prime suspect in Sawa-sensei's case, too.
That doesn't make any sense.
Look, Kuwana's a scapegoat for RK. Public security wants to shut the curtains on Sawa-sensei's case with him. As far as they're concerned, with Kuwana silenced, it'll all balance out.
So that's what you meant by Kuwana having an accident.
Right. Better to flush your shit than keep a lid on it.
So who's running the show in public security? Do they have a name?
I wasn't told, unfortunately. Afraid I'm further down the food chain than you thought. Yeah, Watanabe speaking. Huh? Ijincho?
Huh?
Right. Got it. Call me if anything else comes up. Kuwana's been spotted. A witness reported seeing him in Ijincho.
Seriously? He's back here?
Couldn't say for sure.
Where's he at?
Fukutokucho, in Koreatown, where the Komi Jewel hang out. The police are headed there now.
Komi Jewel?
Apparently it means spiderweb in Korean. You haven't seen it? It's made to look like it's abandoned.
And Kawana's there?
You're not gonna say you got that from me, right?
I don't have much time. You said Kawana might have an accident, didn't you? I'm sure that's why you're telling me all this.
If you find him, let him know it's public security that's after him. And they mean business.